What's up, everyone? Welcome. It's another live stream. How's everyone doing? It has been a while. It's been almost 2-3 weeks since we did the last stream. I've been away, so I'm back now. Many things has happened in the market. Actually, just a continuation on the dollar to the downside, which was a bit expected. Yeah, hope everyone has been doing well. Basically 1 month away from the end of the year. So yeah, hope everyone is having a great year so far, and it's almost at that time to start actually getting into preparation for 2024. Right? Start writing down your plans, your goals, reviewing your yearly performance, and yeah, hopefully finish the year strong and start the year even stronger. That's basically the main goal now, right? Create momentum in your own performance and processes as well. So yeah, welcome. If you are new, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Basically, going live on Saturday to review or to try to see where the best opportunities will be for next week. We take a look into FX, some indices as well, commodities, basically gold and oil, and we finish with a little bit of crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, mostly those three. But yeah, feel free to recommend any levels that you may think that are interesting for next week, and we can take a look at it together. So yeah, come along. Yeah, feel free to interact on the chat, and I'll be replying to you as well. So looking at the market, what has happened since our last stream, right? Our last stream was still in end of last week of October. Meanwhile we had FOMC, we had NFP, and we have actually CPI, and all of those events, they brought the dollar to the downside. We had FOMC when you created this double top, the highs, if you remember exactly what you were looking for around this structure on dollar index, that's exactly what you were aiming for. Okay, this is exactly the pattern, the levels that we anticipated, where initially price actually paused in here, and you are still looking for price to fake out, getting into the next structure a bit more closer to the upside. Meanwhile, we actually had broken these lows in here, showing indication that price most likely wanted to go lower. So we had that, we had FOMC, price moved down, we had NFP, was it in here? Yeah, it was in here, NFP, price moved down, and then we had CPI, another continuation to the downside. Initially, price did respect the target, which basically was within the base of this box, this rectangle. So price did respect it perfectly, the target, which kind of led a little bit of indecision. What should we expect from the dollar next? So we did react it from the target, we did move to the upside, but we found resistance straight away from the next level. Okay, so basically around this level in here, to this previous level support resistance as well, we just found the resistance around that level, and price started actually to move lower. We actually managed to break these lows first, starting to get the indication that we are maybe ready to continue to move down, and then we had all that interesting PA in here to move price down. I actually was looking for price to still spike into there before maybe the final move down. It never did, just stayed at the base of this level, and it just moved down. Okay, meanwhile, now we did broke the lows, kind of ranged a little bit, but it also broke this low at the same time, and we are looking for more bearish moves on the dollar, and that's basically how are we positioned at this point. Again, we have been looking for those sales since price kind of reached a little bit this level. Question mark it would be if price would go a little bit higher above this level, or if kind of would stop in there. And when price reacted from this zone, we did mention that this was a really interesting level on the 1 hour time frame in there above this high. That was a really good level to expect some reaction. And then everything else, like how the PA around it, yeah, we start definitely look for those sales. And now the question mark is what's next? Like what's next on the dollar? Are we going to be trading in between this range in here? Okay, are we going to go all the way back towards this level, or what's going to happen in between all these moves? Okay, that's a good question to ask. Again, even is this the level that's going to be the final destination for these lows, or should we expect eventually price to go even lower? Okay, are we looking for price to eventually come all the way? All the way into here. This kind of a little bit of the range that we have. The price moved a little bit into that level, kind of with respect. It's still something in here. Eventually could have gone a little bit more into this structure. At this point it didn't. So it's a bit in the middle in between all this scenario. Like if you look at this rectangle, it's in the middle. If you look at this rectangle, is in the middle. Even if you look now at this level, now it's in the middle. Like it reacted from the extreme, as we mentioned, which could have been a great short. So we'll see now. We need to try to see a little bit. A second. We need to try to see a little bit inside in here. What's next? Where are maybe some levels in here that the dollar may react from, or may bounce and eventually try to resume to move upwards, if there's even anything in here, because price actually on the way up, it moved in a kind of compression way, which means that basically most of the zones, or kind of the fresh demand zones or levels that could still work as a push price higher, they have been taken on the way up. Okay, which kind of makes it a bit quicker, and all of a sudden we can maybe continue to just see this dollar continue to move to the downside. Now, daily time frame, yes, this low, for example, has already broken that one, which maybe takes us into the structure, and maybe we can look for price somewhere at around this 102.5. Okay, so that could be maybe a potential zone eventually to look for. You may have again this structure in here, which price may have a little bit of a correction or a reaction from around this level. We do have this previous level of resistance as well. Yeah, but not exactly my favorite at this point. I think price eventually could just continue and challenge a little bit more to the downside, and eventually take these lows, and we'll see then what's happening after price may take that low into this structure. In here again, bigger picture, I wouldn't be surprised if by any chance we do continue to move down and we start challenging these lows in here. Okay, somewhere around this structure, I wouldn't be surprised if price does go somewhere into this level eventually as a final destination for all this move down. Now price will not move in a straight line. The price will bounce in between. For example, the range that we just created these last few days, these last couple of days, that's actually kind of an interesting range to eventually be faked out, right? Again, we may have this previous structure which we left behind. Okay, kept respecting the zone in there on the lower time frame. It never really gone into this previous zone in here that price can eventually go to. So yes, we may continue to move down. There's maybe something in here, or a little bit more something a little bit underneath that that price maybe could bounce from, and then eventually create some kind of PA in here, and yeah, maybe take that and eventually just resume the move to the downside. I can create that kind of a pattern in there. Yeah, that could be one of the options. Okay, somewhere around this level price could go and bounce from, or just goes all the way again to the extreme in here to react from something. But I think at this point, since we created all these highs, something in here would be much yeah, better or easier to just manipulate these guys and just eventually resume the move down. Again, depending where actually this low is going to be reacting from on the left side. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Price is reaching now approaching this upper edge of this zone. But yeah, again, as I mentioned, I see this one already kind of as an engulf down. Much of this is already compressed on the way there, so it can even go maybe even deeper into there on this 4 hour time frame. It's kind of what we see. Yeah, that doesn't mean that's not going to be maybe some reaction from this level. In here, just underneath this side, it looks like price left this one behind, so there's maybe some reaction to be expected in there. But these ones in here, they have been actually taken, and price eventually can continue to move even lower in here. Okay, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do have kind of that happening eventually on this dollar index. Yeah, so again, you can just do that exercise. You can come back in here, you can try to look in detail exactly where do you think that price may react from. Again, this level looks like it was fresh in the higher time frame. Okay, which one is it? Yeah, this one, like it looks like it was still fresh. This whatever it is, 103.56 something, but actually now that we are looking into the 4 time frame, it looks like there's already been spiked in there. Just go more down. Where was it? I don't know. What did I see there? Ah, it was the other one underneath that. Okay, it's not that one, it's actually this one. It looks like it was fresh, but no, it looks like it was, yeah, this 102. It looks like maybe it has been spiked already in here, which maybe takes us a little bit higher to look for something. Yeah, maybe. There you go. This is something that you can pay attention to as well, and that's why it's important to navigate between the different time frames here. Hey Martinez, welcome man. How are you doing? How are you doing? So yes, at this point, dollar index, to be honest with you, I have been paying special attention. Everything was making sense until kind of we finally did exactly what we were expecting. And now that price is kind of, and since it broke this low, since we kind of respected where it broke this low with the CPI, now it's literally a game of waiting and see. Like I didn't really get too much enthusiastic about anything in here for the last 2 days, for example, on euro dollar, pound dollar, and so on. Like there was not really anything interesting for me to trade in there. Pound dollar maybe a little bit better just because it had some news with the CPI as well that made the pound dollar move a little bit more. But aside from that, I was actually more looking into maybe some commodities, as oil as an example, or the N pairs, like which as you know, like the move to the upside on the N index, which kind of takes the N pairs to the downside. Those were a bit more of the assets, to be honest, that I was more focused after the CPI. So basically since Wednesday, I didn't really pay attention to the euro dollar, pound dollar, and so on, because again, while the dollar now is reacting around this range, it doesn't really provide me any interesting opportunity at this point. Now that we started to create this range, if we do have that reaction eventually to the upside, then that may be an interesting trend continuation approach. Like if you go, eventually price will react from something, which again I'll be paying attention on the left side. But eventually, if you do have something like that, which again somewhere in here could be an interesting zone to look for, then a short. Again, that's still needs to wait. Again, we do have this structure, we do have this zone in here, this demand zone that apparently it was left behind in there. So yeah, that can be maybe exactly what we're looking for. Price kind of respected that structure. So yeah, you can have that proper fake out. It will be even nicer also to see price first and foremost respecting a little bit this supply, because we do have this supply now behind, but this is already kind of a triple top or whatever. And so yeah, the best thing that could do is exactly one of those scenarios where price eventually going to respect it a little bit, attract more liquidity in there, and then you have that spike which can occur with some kind of news, whatever it may be, next week or next couple of weeks in there. Okay, next week actually is going to be not exactly many or any important news event in the US. There's going to be manufacturing PMI and services PMI on Thursday in Eurozone and in the UK, because it's going to be Thanksgiving. So again, don't expect any big volatility in the afternoon UK time on Thursday, like because it's Thanksgiving, everyone is going to be away. But then on Friday usually actually tends to be quite interesting with the Black Friday. Usually there's kind of interesting moves, and there's going to be now the manufacturing and services PMI on Friday. Aside from that, CPI in Canada, but nothing really interesting about the news next week. Yeah. Connecting from Zambia. Nice, man. That's nice. Yeah, man. Thank you for taking the time. What do you trade? What are you looking at? Is it FX? What do you look at? Of course, it's FX. Your name is FX. But what pairs you pay attention to? So that's a little bit on the dollar index. Again, we'll see how price is going to open on Monday. If there's any kind of reaction here, there's going to be maybe something. Then maybe you can have the support of the euro dollar also to try to see what's next on the euro dollar at this point. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden you have a really continuation of the move to the downside. As I mentioned, everything in here has been almost spiked and price can go almost all the way to the downside. And as I mentioned before, we can actually trade all the way towards these levels. Okay, as a move to the downside, you can maybe actually use this level. Yeah, can almost go all the way somewhere in here. This one, again, as I mentioned, that looked like interesting to see something in there, and we have this level as well. All right, moving along. Pound yen. All right, did you catch the short on pound yen? Moving along. Many people like pound yen. It looks like it's yeah, I see many traders liking to trade pound yen. All right, the indices, and they are looking at the S&P at this point. Okay, so S&P, what happened? Like again, price reached a little bit of this zone. Okay, so it retested these lows somewhere in here at this kind of previous structure, and since then has been moving upwards. Okay, so basically since the FOMC, okay, it has been kind of in a move to the upside. Again, NFP helped, and then CPI, another strong momentum to the upside. What you can see on the indices is that S&P at this point is lagging in comparison with the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has already broken this highs from July, S&P hasn't. Okay, so, and we'll see if it will break them or not. We could also see that by paying attention to the move to the downside. Okay, S&P moved much lower than NASDAQ during these last couple of months. So of course, if it moves much lower, then it's going to take longer to actually eventually retest the highs. Right? It just makes sense like that. So what are we looking at this point? Okay, so we continue to move upwards. Price kind of turned quite nicely. And we have kind of this double top in here. I'm looking for price eventually to take this double top from this to go above these highs in here, and we'll see what may happens next. Okay, so price has been retesting this structure at this point. Okay, but I'm looking for price actually to go higher, to actually fake out this level and to maybe go into this 4,500 somewhere in there. Okay, so we decided to pause a little bit in here. It's an interesting zone. It didn't really manage to break to the downside just yet. Apparently it respected one more time the highs, and we are stuck within this range, which is quite good. Like something specific or a pattern that we may see happening for a reversal is actually if price starts ranging just underneath sorry, my throat. So yeah, so just underneath this like underneath a double top into maybe a fresh level in there, that's exactly when you want to start noticing price slowing down and creating some kind of range. Okay, now what we also still need to see is actually a proper break of a low. Okay, we want to start noticing some weakness, which we haven't seen that just yet. Okay, price is actually holding it, so if by any chance we do break above it a little bit, there's maybe more room to the upside, or if it even breaks just a little bit like this, can still be more room to the upside. Okay, again, I want to see first the wall's been broken, and then I would like to see then fake out, I think it's into this level to happen in there. So yeah, at this point, as long as these walls are holding, again, we do have that next structure straight away in there. Yeah, a little bit of this structure as well, and eventually can go all the way into this level, even though this level actually has already been retested in here, so it's a bit weaker, so you can look into that amount and then somewhere in here. Okay, this gap doesn't really exist. This is just data that is missing from this trading view chart for some reason. Yeah, they don't have it in there. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of what you can expect or can look at, or what I'm looking at. Now this is a little bit of the zone that I have. There is a gap in here also created. Okay, so this actually gap was created when I think Fitch actually downgraded the rating, the US rating, from AAA to AA or something like that. And actually last week there has been another rate agency that downgraded the US rating to something. I don't really remember now what was the downgrade, but there was another one, maybe Moody's or something like that, that downgraded the rating in US. And when that happened in August, to start the beginning of a downtrend. So we'll see if there's going to be any kind of impact as well or not. Again, there's still plenty of situations going on in the US. It doesn't really, many things are about to break. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. People in the market celebrated the lower inflation, more than expected, the results, hoping for a soft landing away from all these hikes. Also predicting 1% of rate cuts for next year. Again, we'll see if that's going to happen or not. Yes, the indices moving upwards, that's a scenario that we can see, and eventually can even go higher. Okay, eventually can even go challenging these highs in here if by any chance price does want to take these highs. Again, we can try to see within those highs if there's anything interesting to look at. Okay, so I do have this structure in here in alignment with the low in here, so that's maybe something to look at. It looks like it's still fresh because this size never touched it. We do have that gap, and then we start looking upwards, and in here many of the things have been touched already. Okay, so maybe a little bit of a reaction from that level, but then unless there's something in here on the lower time frame, I think eventually price could just break through. Again, we do have this gap, maybe it needs to be filled, so that's something to pay attention to in there. Yeah, aside from that, nothing much in here, but we'll see also what type of approach we're going to have on the S&P to look for something around the structure in here. And of course, looking at the S&P is just one part. We can actually then look at the NASDAQ as well and try to see what NASDAQ is doing. Okay, so as I mentioned, NASDAQ has already broken the high. It actually kind of fake out the high and move to downside a little bit. Again, it hasn't really broken this low, still respected, and kind of we are stuck within this level. Yesterday kind of looking a little bit for reaction from this level, and there's another one in here that it looks good as well. On the lower time frame you can see it, but as I mentioned, NASDAQ did manage to break this high, and however it's still actually respecting within this structure. Okay, so NASDAQ is still reacting from within this structure of these highs in here, so hasn't really broken. Even though it took the highs, it's still trading within that level. So that's something to bear in mind. And then aside from that, we may go a little bit higher. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind in here. So this is the highs from 2021 or 2022. Yeah, there's maybe this level, which is kind of still fresh. There's maybe something in here that price could eventually fake out into. And yeah, it's a bit like that. Yeah, something in here in alignment with all these lows, something that could eventually be played out in there. If by any chance price wants to go even slightly higher, but this then becomes all-time high, so then eventually there's always the risk for price to fake out all that zone before a move down. So we'll see. In terms of the move to downside, again, price got really close. Actually, I wanted slightly lower, to be honest. Got really close to this range in here that was created after the break of that high. So in terms of target, yeah, it was okay. And since then, again, just bullish momentum. This was a nice trend continuation approach. Yeah, just continues with the bullish momentum. If you start breaking these walls in here, that's maybe then into this level, and then eventually can even go further down if price does continue to break new structure in there. Looking at the Dow, yeah, Dow went also all the way to the downside. Okay, so we took these lows and respected kind of the next structure somewhere in here in alignment with this zone. That's basically where it reacted from. Okay, again, bigger picture. Eventually can even go above this high into something in here. just something to bear in mind, to look at. But lower time frame, we may still react from this level. Okay, I'm actually looking for price to, so it broke slightly that high. I'm looking for price actually to go a little bit above of the structure. This firm is kind of compressed, and I think price could go above this highs, getting closer into this structure that kind of managed to break price downside. So maybe it's something in there that we can look for. So we'll see. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit more room upwards before maybe aiming to move lower in there. Okay, this on the daily time frame actually looks quite nice to eventually price to go to, and you'll see if you start moving forward. Again, what do you want to see as approach, right? You want to see price, slowing down. Okay, that's exactly what you want to see, and it's exactly what you are getting at this point. Okay, you want to see price start to compress a little bit, hopefully to start breaking some lows as well, to start opening the door for price to go even lower, and then can continue just to move higher a little bit more until eventually may get there, and eventually we can start turning again. Okay, even target this level or target a little bit even lower. So yeah, so some patience game again. Looking for price again to go above that level, and then we'll see what may happen next in here. DAX just continues to move upwards as well. So this was a really nice turn. Price reacted perfectly kind of around this structure. It reversed, okay, kind of broke the trend line as well. Trend lines are actually kind of good tool to use in terms of looking for potential turns. There you go, it turned, really nice PA in there. I'm looking for the extreme in there, never really touched it. It went above it again. I was looking for price to eventually touch this time one more time. It never really did it, and it started moving upwards, and since then again just momentum to the upside. A bit expecting that part again. We do have that double top, eventually price just continue, and now we are actually at this extreme, which eventually can be taken. Okay, everything in here also has been spiked quite a lot. We may have a little bit of this structure that is a bit fresh. Price is getting really close to that zone, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if you do actually take everything in here and go a bit higher. Okay, so this is again all-time highs on DAX. So something that could happen. Try to see maybe something within this structure. Maybe the extreme in here could work to fake out these highs in here. To go slightly lower. Okay, so break into this compression. Okay, so break basically into this compression. So to give the information of the information that you actually want to go higher. Okay, and eventually fill everything, but maybe break into it and then go down first. Okay, so give the information you want to go higher, but then go down first, and then we need to try to find where is a good level to look for a continuation in here. It's going to be somewhere around this level, somewhere around here. So where is the zone then price can go all the way down before maybe resuming that move to the upside? Fill this wall, fill this zone in there, and get closer to this structure in here. Okay, in particular that one in there. So that's a little bit of what I would like to see. So take this high, go upwards, react from something either around this level or something else, go down, and then resume the move to the upside. If you don't have that retracement, if price just continues to move higher, then that's a different story, and we may look then see where actually we can have that bigger turn in there. So yeah, that's a little bit of what we have at this point. In here we did manage to take that level, something in here, and then we get closer into this level in there. All right, so that's DAX as well. Maybe we can even have a little bit more of a smaller trend line in there just to keep following price. Yeah, we'll see what might happen in there. Euro index. Okay, so Euro index, it has been played out exactly as we were looking at. Okay, so what did you have before? Like, so we were looking for price to react from this level, and it react from that level, correct? And it react from that level in this highs. And then the normal target for this move, it would be basically the base of this structure. Okay, and we mentioned that, right? When dollar index was in here, didn't really look like a target. When it was in there, it didn't really look like the final target. But in here, we start saying that, yep, that may be the target in here. Yes, there could have been or could have gone a little bit lower. Okay, could have been maybe somewhere in here, which never really did, but it just stayed above that level, and that's kind of where price reacted. Perfect. What else did we start having? Right, we start breaking kind of trend lines, start breaking highs. Okay, we start breaking highs in here. That start telling us that price most likely is about to go higher. It's starting to respect every single zone in here, broke another high, break another high, and meanwhile it's starting to move literally to the upside. Everything in here now is compressed. There's maybe something in here that price could have used, and then something a little bit maybe above that, since this one's already kind of taken that level. Again, there's still something in here, perfect, respects and goes higher. And since then has been moving upwards. Bigger picture, we should be expecting actually that, okay? Because bigger picture, if we actually look at this, yeah, there was a great reaction from that level. That's good, but doesn't really look like it's the final destination. Like, we're looking for price to get a bit more closer to this extreme in here, even this highs in there. Like, not just to pause in here. This kind of just a normal move to expect, and then eventually price would go higher. And yeah, the reaction from this level, it's perfect for that trend continuation. And yes, meanwhile, everything in here was compressed. Okay, so as soon as we break that level, everything else in here is basically compressed, and we get closer to this extreme, which is where actually price is reacting right now. And then eventually we can even go slightly higher. Maybe this high hasn't really touched the other zone, and maybe we can go into there, and then we'll see what else we may have around this direction. And meanwhile, we are at the highs in there. Okay, so we'll see. At this point, as I mentioned, price is kind of reacting from that level. It hasn't really managed to break properly any structure. It did manage to break a little bit this compression, but it got really basically to the extreme in here. So that's that. And now it looks like it's about to challenge the new highs in there. So again, more momentum on the euro. Maybe that can happen. Again, eventually we can retest a little bit this structure in here. Okay, so eventually we can get a little bit closer to that level, but not yet apparently. So we'll see. We'll see if price is ready to take these highs in there, and ready to then go to the next level in here. So yeah, momentum on the euro. And you can see that on euro CAD as well, kind of quite aggressive on euro pound as well, on euro dollar, and so on and so forth. And now we are in here. All right, yen index. All right, so head over and reacting perfectly from that from the previous high from last year. But what we had in here is exactly a great trading opportunity that occurred this week on the yen pairs. Okay. By the way, Martinez, I don't know if you're still there, but do you pay attention to yen index when you're trading pound yen, or you don't even pay attention to the yen index? Yeah, so what we have, right? So we had this continuation to downside. We had a little bit of a spike in here. And again, the exercise, right? Just keep looking or finding where are the fresh levels in here. This one was fresh. It's literally spiked, moved down. Then we start having this level, which was still fresh. Price break above this level. It doesn't really fill this range, so it opens a little bit of a gap in there. Meanwhile, we have kind of this trend line in here. Then you have this previous level that price just breaks, keeps respecting it, and eventually you would have that move. Now, unfortunately, maybe this one was missing, so maybe that could have been a deeper retrace to look for another sell on the yen pairs, but price just respected this range, and it continued to go higher, and it went literally to one of the targets that we should be expecting from, right? Because this is literally the previous level that was slightly still fresh, and underneath this one in here above this size, because this one has already been taken. That one kind of then is taken in there, and here kind of everything has been used as well. Nice reaction, and there you go. We have a target, which now we are going to see our price may react from here. And don't forget that we still left this one behind, so by any chance if price does want to have a little bit of a deeper retracement, you may go even there before maybe continue to move higher, now that you actually managed to take this highs in here. Okay, so that's a bit of what we have on the yen index. Is this going to be the low? Are we going to continue to move? Yeah, price actually took that high, which is quite interesting. Yeah, quite interesting. Then eventually can even go slightly higher. This can be a good level to look for the retracement that we are having right now. but eventually we could just continue to move higher. Price even created another fake out in there. That's something that I actually like to see. Okay, price had taken that structure, it moved down, but it made sure that it still even broke this highs one more time. And that kind of looks like as a confirmation. Price still wants to go higher in the future. It left this level behind, so it didn't even retested the structure. So price will eventually want to go revisit this zone in here, since this guy's never really spiked in there. So yeah, that makes it interesting. That makes it a good zone eventually for price to continue to move higher. Now we did react it from that level, as you can see. So we have this range. So we have this range in here. Okay, we broke above it, then we fake out, and then this level kind of becomes an interesting zone for a continuation. And you had that there is a move in here, up, down, touch, and continues. The same way that then price respected still this structure in here, and then just continue to move higher in here. Right, it's exactly what happened in there. Again, a little bit underneath that, there's maybe something that price could use, or is price just going to revisit something in here and move higher? We'll see. Okay, we have this upper edge in there now, so yeah, we'll see. It's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to continue to be one of the most interesting assets to pay attention to. It's going to be these yen pairs in here. All right. Moving along. So we have this euro dollar, right? Let's start with euro dollar. I have deleted basically all my, I actually kind of started from a new, and yeah, deleted all my analysis that I used to have. I'm starting wanted to redo my analysis, something that I'm in the process of doing. But meanwhile, again, this is everything that we have been looking for recently. Okay, so we had this which we kind of break off trend line in here, just the same way that we were bearish on the dollar, we were bullish on the euro, and everything kind of played out accordingly. Again, there was maybe one final move down in here that I was looking eventually on the dollar, which never occurred, but since then price has been just moving upwards. Okay, there was another ways to create liquidity in here. I did it in there with the FOMC, and that's basically what happened in there. And then since then it's been moving to the upside. Now I'm not even the biggest fan neither where actually this was reacted from. Eventually price could go a little bit lower. So yeah, it's a bit more of those in the middle levels in here on the euro. But at this point, yes, just looking from the chart like that, sometimes it's actually nice to look at an empty chart. This was a good reaction. We did mention that part. Okay, so the reaction from this level, this was literally fresh. And neither this wall, neither of course the other walls reacted from it. So that was a zone that we were looking for. Okay, and it's also in alignment with that bigger zone in there. Okay, these left shoulders in here. Yeah, that's a nice little structure, which eventually can actually aim to go visit this level again, which can actually make sense if price does visit the lower edge of this level. Yeah, maybe that can be a target to aim for. Now, bigger picture. Yes, there was maybe a little bit of a gap in there, which basically where price actually reacted from. Okay, so basically from this structure, that's exactly where price reacted from. Now, pay attention to this level to see if price by any chance does want to visit again, something in here, and maybe bounce from, or are you going to go just straight to the edge in there at the extreme? Personally, I don't really see anything in here, so I didn't really like where actually this highs pause in here. It's quite continuation to the upside. I don't really think that price will just stop in here. I'll be looking more for price maybe to react from something in there. Okay, I would like to see price actually taking everything in here. It's approaching this level. Yeah, if you want just a little bit of a reaction, but I can see price going higher and even potentially higher in here, which again takes us a little bit to the same conversation of the dollar index, where maybe dollar index can just continue to move down as well, since everything in here on the euro dollar has been spiked as well on the way down. Again, maybe some fresh level in here, which if you go into the lower time frame, maybe that's already been spiked. Yeah, maybe something in there to pay attention to. Aside from that, nothing really much going on. Which then takes us all the way to the highs, which then to the highs, you can actually start looking if there's anything in here that maybe price wants to go next, which can then takes us even higher. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. First and foremost, yeah, this is going to be the next one too that I'll be paying attention to. At least some reaction should maybe expect a little bit above this structure, and then eventually price can go higher. At the lows, yeah, again, I didn't really like anything in here. This kind of a zone that price kind of kept respecting, and yesterday as well. Yep. So if by any chance price does want to come back in here, not sure if this is going to be still something to look at, or if you should just expect price to eventually could go down and kind of revisit this level in here. Okay, but yeah, maybe something in here can still work as a potential continuation to the upside. Yeah, aside from that, nothing really much going on in here. Okay, yeah, this kind of, again, the best opportunities or the most clean price action that we got, it was a bit more closer to the lows. Okay, this is where price actually was having us that it wanted to go higher, and now it's just, yeah, just let it move. Let it move. If you do find some structure to continue to drive this trade, perfect. If you do find any kind of reversals, kind of reactions from here, be careful with your target. That would be my advice. Be careful with your target. Not sure if from here price is ready to make out this. Maybe the only thing that's going to happen is from here it's going to just retest this structure and just continue to go higher after that. Okay, so be careful with your targets at this point if you're looking for shorts, until we start seeing some proper weakness, and then maybe we can have a deeper retracement in there. Okay, again, not really going to spend much time on euro dollar. Nothing much going on in there. Pound dollar, yeah, it had a little bit more of a correction to the downside, mostly because we had the CPI data and so on in here. So yeah, we had a little bit more of a move to the downside. We actually managed again to also take these lows in here. Pound dollar actually reacted all the way to the lows, or kind of to the extreme of this level. So this was maybe a better zone to look for a long. Well, euro just paused in here, right? Euro kind of just paused in here and then moved higher. Pound actually went to the extreme of this level, so yeah, it maybe offered a better opportunity to look for that long. Yeah, meanwhile, kind of retesting the structure. We do have maybe still this extreme in here that is still fresh. Somewhere in there. Again, this was the CPI. The spike below that, it was the CPI in here. No, this was not the CPI. This was, yeah, this was the CPI, but the CPI in the US, not the CPI in the UK. It's just somewhere in there. Yeah, this was maybe unemployment. Yeah, unemployment and CPI. I think it was something like that from last week. Again, this level, which price never really got there. So yeah, there's maybe something in here that we could see some kind of reaction from. Again, where the highs reacted from, we reacted really from the extreme in there. Again, personally, bigger picture may not be anything interesting. No, it's not holding. Yeah, weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, it's maybe actually something okay. Aside from that, everything has been spiked as well, and you can eventually aim to go towards this level, which takes us into this level in here. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. So this is basically one of the last ones, and then kind of that one as well. I'm talking about the weekly time frame. So the other one is monthly. So yeah, that's basically where the price is reacting. But on the world time frame, a lot of this looks like compressed as well, and I wouldn't mind to see eventually price going and moving to the upside as well, towards somewhere. Wait, this doesn't vote in there. So yeah, first and foremost, a little bit in here, but if you break above that, I wouldn't be surprised if you do continue to go higher. in there. And that's basically a little bit of what I'm looking at on the pound, which can continue to go and eventually go towards a bit more towards that structure in there. Yeah, the lows, as we mentioned as well, like the lows were reacting from an interesting level, it was reacting from here. So yeah, when price reacted from there, we were expecting that. Actually, we were expecting also for price eventually to take these lows, eventually created the double low. They talked about kind of 2-3 levels within this structure that we're looking for price to react from, and price reacted from, basically initially it was this one at the top and then kind of one in the middle, and may actually have left one at the bottom in there. Okay, that's basically where price reacted, then kind of turning. Yeah, everything was perfect in there. Yeah, so we'll see. Again, not the biggest fan of this high, so eventually could go higher, but you could maybe trade within this level next week. So we'll see. Euro pound on the other side is just moving higher. And so euro pound is just moving to the upside. Again, that's kind of the momentum that we have at this point in here. Okay, that's kind of a bit of the structure. Price reacted from that level. That's maybe something in here eventually in the future that can be quite interesting. Yeah, maybe towards that level. Meanwhile, anytime price goes up, kind of goes down a little bit. This was a nice zone where price reacted from. Personally, I kind of still wanted to see price going a little bit more into the next level, but it didn't. Meanwhile, kind of respecting that level. And it's a lot of compression, a lot of moves like this that euro pound is doing. But yeah, bigger picture, I think eventually could continue to go higher. Maybe retesting these structures here can be interesting, and eventually can even challenge that level. But this one can actually be interesting in there. It's basically where price is reacting. Yeah, that will be an interesting level to eventually to look for. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, aside from that, again, without this compression with pound and euro kind of moving in the same direction, this kind of makes it like that. Now Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar. Okay, so we become bullish since we took these lows, right? So since we took these lows and since we took these lows, we start looking for price to move to the upside. Okay, so we start noticing this weakness. Again, it was in alignment, or it was around the same time that we had the CPI report in Australia. It was higher than expected, and that would force, as we could see last week or 2 weeks ago, to force the Reserve Bank of Australia to hike again another 25 basis points, bringing the interest rate to 4.35. And since then we start seeing this bullishness on the Aussie. Okay, so again, how this looked compressed, I think everyone agrees with that. We already had broken this high in here, so then we take the lows and we start looking for price to move higher. Then we go all the way up, we take the highs one more time. Okay, we definitely took the highs in here. Let me actually be precise, and you'll see that we took the highs, and then price comes all the way back to this beautiful level, and yep, and it just moves higher again. And that's maybe the expectation, is to continue to see price moving higher. Meanwhile, everything in here between this structure has been compressed. Okay, that's kind of the zone that has been taken. A little bit of a fresh level in here where actually price now is reacting from. Then maybe we can have a little bit more of a zone in there, but eventually we can continue to move to the upside in here on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so that's maybe something eventually that we could look for. Yeah, how price may react from this level, it's going to be interesting to see if we are ready to going even higher, or are we going to kind of resume now that we have taken out the structure from this, or are we going to resume the move even from here or a little bit higher, resume the move to the downside. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how price may react from this level. This zone in here is the one that's been holding price down after we managed to break this structure. Okay, that level, it's been managing to hold price once, twice, and we'll see if this is already weaker, or there's kind of this level in here that you can eventually still use and eventually push price down in there. Okay, so that's a bit what they have. Again, this level, it looks like as a good, interesting zone. Meanwhile, kind of moving down a little bit, kind of took that level. In here, everything looks like a bit compressed. We can even go a little bit higher eventually to go. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of what we have on the Aussie dollar. Euro Aussie. Yeah, more of a range, to be honest. Eventually, I like to see price going all the way and take everything in there. But meanwhile, it's kind of trading within this range. So that's kind of what we have in here. We're going to continue to respect this structure and push down, or eventually, again, my favorite point or zone, eventually it will be when price gets closer to this level. Now, yeah, price kind of reacting from this level. We kind of took these lows, but we kept respecting straight away the zone just underneath that. Kind of kept respecting these lows, kind of maybe now took this one. Yeah, maybe can continue to create a little bit more compression, more pressure in here. And eventually you could take these guys and yeah, maybe do something like that around this structure. And yeah, move to downside. Yeah, that's definitely something to bear in mind on the Aussie, on the Euro Aussie. Okay, maybe a little bit more in there, something in here. Again, within this level, there's maybe something in there that you could look for. Again, all this compression is already all the way towards this high in here. It's maybe already reacted from that one, and you can carry on doing that as you continue looking into the lower time frame. You definitely can try to see. You see, basically that's the structure that was created afterwards. This is where price has been reacting from, and then you have the next one higher in there. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Just use this level in there. Yeah, so yeah, that can again, this level has already been taken. Okay, so this is weak, and price most likely is going to start looking a bit underneath that. This one has already been taken as well. So yeah, kind of makes it or leaves it that's on a little bit more underneath in there to eventually look for a trade. Yeah, can you see this one in here? Compression, compression, compression. This is kind of the separation just above that. Just above this size in here, which can make it quite interesting in there. Then if you want to look actually at the extreme of the extreme of the extreme of the zone, that will be somewhere in there. Maybe price hasn't really touched it, we'll see. Yeah, that's kind of Euro Aussie. I think it's going to be quite interesting in the future when you do get closer to that level. Can provide a really interesting initial reaction or somewhere in there as well. Just where you go, let it continue to move to the upside a little bit more. Yeah, then we'll see what may happen from there. The yen pairs, okay, and the yen pairs now, and you can start actually with this Aussie yen. Okay, again, this is a tricky one. I think depending on the, I don't know why the 4 hour and the daily time frame are providing me with different data, okay, in terms of the high. So as you can see on the 4 hour time frame, price pauses in there, but if I go to the daily, there's a little bit more of a bigger move in there. And if this exists, we didn't fake out the high. On the 4 hour time frame, we actually fake out the high. Okay, so that's just something to bear in mind. Bigger picture, again, eventually you can even go towards this level in here. You can even maybe go towards somewhere even to the extreme and take these highs in here. We did manage to take this low, but that was just kind of reacting straight away from the next structure. So it was a beautiful zone in here to look for a continuation on the Aussie yen. Meanwhile, kind of kept respecting, and now it's just moving to the upside. Okay, but yes, eventually we can go towards a little bit more higher and eventually challenge even the highs in here. Okay, so again, if you start looking into the lower time frame, we can try to see something else in there to look for. Yeah, that level in here, as you can see, this was full compressed. This one is basically where price got really close to that. So yeah, but maybe something in there as well. to look for in the future. Hey, I'm Bob Trades. I'm good, man. How are you doing? How's everything? Welcome, man. Analyzing the end pairs, man. It's been crazy opportunities on the end pairs. Crazy opportunities. So yeah, Aussie yen. It was the first one of the pairs also at a really good level that price corrected from. Okay, and then after taking the highs, kind of broke lows and then kind of start moving to downside. Everything was compressed, and then looking for the next structure, it will be somewhere in here. Okay, so kind of testing this zone in here, these highs, and price got kind of really close to that level and start turning a little bit. So there's a little bit maybe more room to the downside in here. Okay, now what we had in these last 2-3 days on the end pair, so and it's something that we have been talking about for the last 1 or 2 months, is the correlation between the end pairs. Okay, what we have noticed during this last couple of weeks, a few months, is that the end pairs were not correlated. And what I mean by that is that, for example, Euro Yen was not doing what the Dollar Yen was doing. Like maybe in the past, a few years back, that would be quite stronger, the correlation. But at this point, basically, Dollar Yen was doing what the Dollar Index was doing. So if the Dollar Index was moving higher, we would see maybe Dollar Yen moving upwards. But if Dollar Index is moving higher, then Euro Dollar is moving lower, Pound Dollar is moving lower, and in this case, Euro Yen and Pound Yen were also moving lower, not higher with Dollar Yen. Okay, and these last couple of days, we finally start seeing this Euro Yen, Pound Yen actually moving in the direction and the same direction as the Dollar Yen, and not on the same direction of the Euro Dollar or Pound Dollar or whatever it may be. Okay, so that's something important to notice, and that's why I managed to have that impulse move on the yen index. It's because the other pairs were not moving like that. For example, when this Euro Yen made all this move down and this move down, kind of Euro Dollar were actually kind of challenging this zone here and eventually actually move higher. Now, what happened at the end of the session? Yes, we did have the correction on the Euro Yen, but this move down, it happened in a moment that actually Euro Dollar was not moving lower. Okay, Euro Dollar is actually kind of steady in there. Same thing with the Pound Dollar. Pound Dollar kind of moving higher, and this guy is actually moving lower, especially yesterday morning. Okay, and then finally kind of the correction in there, and at the same time we have Dollar Yen also moving lower. So yeah, that's something that eventually we want to start noticing more often, and that's going to help eventually for the yen index to move to the upside, and this guy is maybe crashing a little bit more after such a big move to the upside. Now, Dollar Yen, okay, come on, man, refresh that. Yeah, eventually I need to refresh this. 22. Yeah, it's missing the data. Come on. At least on 1 hour, maybe on 1 hour I have it. Yeah, I have it. So, Dollar Yen, okay, Dollar Yen reacted exactly from the extreme in here. Okay, so basically these levels were never really react from there, and there's literally a zone in here that price end up reacting. Okay, so that's exactly this double top creation in there after taking this highs. This was last year in one of the second or third intervention from the Bank of Japan, and that's exactly the level that we have in here. Okay, even in particular, if you want to even be more precise, I think it even went towards this zone, not just this one. Okay, so again, we had these highs. Yeah, so somewhere in there, that's actually where this guy ended up reacting from. Where are we? Yeah, see, that's kind of where it went to. Okay, since then kind of moved down with CPI or whatever it may be on that day, and then CPI it was in this day. Yeah, and moving to downside. Now there's maybe a few levels behind that price has left. We were anticipating this high to be taken. Okay, the reaction here was perfect at the lows. So since price actually respected this move down, respected this demand zone, we were then anticipating a price to break to the upside. Again, another reason for that is there was no break of a low in here. Okay, price was kind of compressing a little bit, but there was no break of lows. Price kind of was respecting every single structure. So if you don't really have any break to the downside, which means that maybe eventually we are actually going to take the highs. Okay, so if you have if this low respects the previous low and you don't really have any break to the downside in here, yeah, just wait for this highs actually to be taken. Don't trade this double top, wait for it to be taken. In this particular case, there was even that zone, that fresh level above it, which we could have seen if you're looking left, and since then we kind of have this move to the downside. Now on this retracement, there's maybe something in here still that price could go to, the same way that maybe there's something in here that price may goes to whenever it wants to come back in here, maybe fake out this double top in here. Okay, this structure that we have in there. Now it reached all the way to the downside, so it's literally retesting this structure, and we are within this range once again. It's going to be interesting to see if this dollar yen is ready to take these highs, sorry, to take these lows, and if you do that, then a lot of it has been compressed already, and price can eventually start moving even lower. Okay, maybe there's a retracement towards this level one more time before moving down, maybe something here, again, can even go there, can even go there. So there are a few zones to eventually these guys can eventually go to. Yeah, for now, before even kind of having a deep retracement, I would like to see price being able to finally break these lows. Okay, so finally break these lows, start opening door to go even further down. And yeah, that would be kind of the ideal, because all of a sudden we can start looking for price to go even lower, maybe going all the way, not this one, going maybe all the way towards this level in here. Okay, that's maybe a potential eventually target in here on this dollar yen, going all the way to 45, something like that, taking every single thing in here, and yeah, something there. And then if by any chance it wants to even continue to go, then you're looking for price to go all the way, retest these lows, which then you can pay attention to actually where this low reacted from on the left side. Maybe that's already taking something here, so then you can actually continue to move even lower in there. Okay, so again, yeah, then maybe then you're looking for this one again. Now question mark, even if you take this low, right, are we going to be able to even maybe go up one more time and actually fake out this structure? Would that be a possibility? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we're actually going to take that high and then turn below it. Who knows, right? So, which is when we are talking about all-time highs, that's always tricky. We don't really have any information on the left side, so we don't know where maybe there will be a next level to react from, whatever. So yeah, it's going to take it and then go down, or going to just literally go down in here and just whatever. Do that, right? So that's question mark. Actually can go all the way until here, to be honest. Yeah, it looks actually kind of even better. Just take all these lows, react from something in there, and then you can start turning again. Yeah, this definitely looks even better, to be honest. Yeah, definitely does. Yeah. All right. So what have you been trading, Gambo? About trades? Yeah, that's basically dollar yen at this point. Question mark again. Are we going to take the highs? That's one question mark. At this point, I would like to see these lows being taken. There's still maybe something in here that price can still use. Definitely, this is actually kind of one of the favorite ones. And if you do break below it, I wouldn't be surprised. If you start catching literally momentum to the downside, we could go all the way and take everything in here. And to be honest, I think this is now my favorite level. That I'll be looking for a potential target for this dollar yen move in here. Then eventually, if price does break below that, then we are looking for much further down and can start looking for something in here at these lows, even though again this already looks like it has been already taken. So yeah, maybe a little bit higher or a little bit in here can also make it interesting eventually to look for. Yeah, just underneath this level as well. Yeah, those will be then eventually some levels to pay attention to. Just come back in here. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting opportunity in here. Now, Euro Yen, like Euro Yen is one of those as well that has been it has been quite bullish, as you know, like just looking at the chart, it's been super bullish. And reason for that, maybe it's because there was not really much going on in here on the left side. There's maybe maybe a little bit of a zone in there or in here, kind of where price kind of paused a little bit, and since then has been moving upwards, and maybe are looking for price to get closer to this next structure. Okay, that's maybe where we may be looking for price to go towards in there. Okay, basically to go we're not using it. Yeah, so there's maybe something. Okay, just use this one. Yep, and go away. Okay, I need to delete everything, sorry. Okay, so yeah, there's maybe something in here at the extreme. Okay, even starting with that level can be quite interesting. This was the weekly time frame. There's maybe something in here that you can look at. I think price is reacting maybe something a little bit underneath that in there, and then eventually we will be having to go even higher somewhere in there. Okay, we do have kind of this structure to eventually pay attention to, and kind of have maybe a few others in there that price can also bounce from in here. Okay, even that one as well. This one can be quite interesting. Okay, that's just something to keep in mind, which is actually I like it because there was a demand in there that price never use it. Yeah, there's no data in there. I need to go 1 minute, 1 hour, daily. Yeah, there's something in here actually that price never really use anything. Again, unfortunately, cannot really go below the 4-hour time frame. Need to find a way to get some data to go below the daily inside this level. Yeah, maybe somewhere in there can be a great or huge opportunity to look for a sell. Yeah, so meanwhile price has been exactly moving like that. Okay, reacted from that zone. That's kind of where we are. Then of course you need to pay attention to this level, which basically was that retest and move upwards, right? So we reacted from that structure in there, so we continue to move to the upside, right? So we broke to the upside, kind of then retested, and price just paused at the upper extreme of that zone. So yeah, that way makes sense in there. So that was a target, and then price continue again, kind of goes all the way down again, and since then has been just moving to the upside. Again, somewhere in here could be eventually a retracement to look for on this Euro Yen. At this point, basically this is the level that you are looking for, and that's basically where price paused as well. Okay, so that's what we have. Again, this was starting to show weakness. Again, start taking lows, show another weakness in here, and then eventually kind of move down, but it's already kind of a break below that, so we could aim actually to go for price to go towards there, and we'll see now what's going to happen in here. There was a zone in there at the highs that was left behind, literally the extreme of the extreme, which actually I miss it in here. Okay, this high never really reacted from that extreme in there. Yeah, so that was something to bear in mind. Then price respected from that level, a lot of compression on the way down in here, and you may be looking for price to maybe eventually get closer a bit to this level. This was a nice PA, and yeah, we can look a little bit more into this level in there also to something. So we'll see. At this point price is moving upwards, so this is the first zone to pay attention to as well. Something in there as well. Price since then kind of moving upwards. Yeah, so that's basically something to bear in mind. If you break below this low, maybe you can start opening door to go much farther. down, takes us into here, just into that zone in there. Yeah, so euro yen, again, continuation to the upside. We may go slightly higher, as we kind of mentioned, which takes us into that into the lower edge of this zone, which can be quite interesting. Then you may have a little bit of the extreme, but maybe you actually want to go slightly higher. So we'll see, right? It's going to be interesting to see how price may react around this structure, which is basically the base of this zone. So somewhere in here, there can be a great potential sell opportunity. Okay, maybe above these highs, maybe can react a little bit first from something in here, and then maybe in there, then we do have the extreme, and then we may have the other zone above it. Now we did manage to break below that level. Okay, in the higher time frame, all this red rectangle is maybe at the target that you're looking for, but on the lower time frame, bear in mind that we actually managed to break below this level. Okay, so that makes it maybe a little bit as an engulf to the downside in here. So that's something to bear in mind in terms of the information that you can start to collect in here. So if you are looking for any shorts, yeah, maybe you can look for that. Maybe you could expect price eventually to get to the extreme of this rectangle in there. Then pound yen. Yeah, you're trading pound dollar, euro dollar, and SPX, right? We actually already covered a little bit pound dollar and euro. What is your take on pound and euro? What do you think? Do you think it's going to continue to go higher? And which target are you looking for? Which target are you looking for on the euro or pound? Kind of where do you think that price is going to find the next level of resistance in here? And a pound can be the same question as well. So pound yen, okay, so it's got really close to the extreme. Okay, so we mentioned that when you're analyzing this pound yen, okay, so we will definitely pay attention to this extreme in here. Okay, so yeah, I'm drawing this rectangle based on the last low that created this last high. Okay, and I'm looking at this time frame. Again, we do have this structure in here to pay attention to as well. Okay, so that level, it looks like, was retested in here. Okay, as you can see in here, now we did manage to break below that structure as well and retrace all the way. So that's kind of a new zone that we need to pay attention to in here, and that's basically where price has been managed to react from around this level in here. Okay, at this point, the move to downside, it happened in alignment with this structure. Okay, as we will see, there is definitely a fresh supply still in here, and that's exactly where price reacted from last week. Yeah, cannot have that. I need to do it on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so the structure is the fresh level, is kind of somewhere around this level. And yeah, that's basically what we have. As you can see, this guy has never really kind of spiked into that zone. Therefore, that level was still fresh. We kind of can expand this rectangle in there. But yeah, eventually we are going to go above this zone. Okay, so expecting eventually this highs to be stay there. So yeah, eventually price to go above those highs, and we're going to get into this extreme in here. Something to bear in mind in there. Yeah, compression in here. Yeah, something to look for. All right. Yeah, that one. Yeah, this one is here. Basically taken by this one when it spikes, so that's weaker. That doesn't really matter that much anymore. Now. Yeah, so we're going to look for price to go higher. So that's exactly where price has been reacting right now. Okay, so I'm talking about this level, the extreme in here. That's kind of where price is reacting. Now we have been slowing down a little bit. Okay, again, we had that kind of similar move as the euro yen, even though euro yen has been more aggressive at this point. And the next question it will be actually, looking at this higher time frame, and this is where it's interesting. Right, apparently we have some kind of low in there as well. It's kind of, I think maybe that's relevant. Again, I don't have more data now on the left in there. We do have this level. So as you can imagine at this point, for example, Euro Yen, it's already kind of retesting these highs from 2007, and Pound Yen hasn't even broken this level. Okay, it's literally what we are looking for. Like for example, if I put it on the weekly time frame, right? So these highs in here are from 2007-8, and yeah, that's basically where Euro Yen is going to, and Pound Yen is which is still kind of reacting from whatever high in the middle of this spark was created in there, maybe 2013 highs. Okay, now both of them, they came all the way down to respect this beautiful structure. Okay, actually I'll challenge you to analyze this weekly time frame on the Euro Yen to understand exactly all the moves from here all the way to there, and then kind of up and down again with confirmation. That's a great exercise to do. But yeah, so looking at the Pound Yen, actually Pound Yen managed to break that level, but now it's respecting this zone in here. So this was created in 2015. Yeah, we did had Brexit in between. Yeah, I had Brexit in between. Price came all the way down, so it respected these lows. Okay, so it respected these lows in here when it moved to the downside. This level kind of still respecting that level. Eventually, I think we could go or aim for price to go somewhere closer to this range once again in here. Okay, so that's maybe eventually where on the end may go to, which means that we may actually break everything in here and eventually just continue to go higher in the bigger picture and aim towards something closer to that level. In here, I'm looking at 221 in there. So we'll see if that's going to happen. Again, price can bounce again, can retest this level. But looking in this time frame, this weekly or monthly time frame, price respected perfectly this month zone, respected one more time, start turning in here. And meanwhile, since we respected these lows, I think we can actually challenge these highs and break the highs and get price to go a little bit closer. Again, this level has already been taken by that one. Okay, so that's actually interesting to see. So it makes it definitely weaker as well. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, that one as well, that one as well. It kind of takes us into this level. Something in here can be interesting with price going above that level. Yeah, so over time frame, yeah, good reaction, and we'll see. Okay, so we do have that structure at this point where we are. Definitely this level in here is a natural target to look for, even on the daily time frame, right? So this is basically where we are at this point, and we need to break below these lows to start looking slightly lower. Okay, if these lows keep holding price or kind of out that structure, then we may challenge the highs and we continue to move higher after that. Okay, again, we do have this structure, this kind of supply zone. So let's see how price may react from here. Are we going to go move down, or if we break above that level, then maybe we can start challenging and to go higher once again. Maybe something here can be interesting to see as well. Okay, again, if you do then start breaking below this level, then that's when we can start aiming to go further down, but we'll see what may happen by then. Okay, so yeah, again, an interesting one. We are approaching a really important level. We can definitely still maybe out this level, can maybe go there. And with the previous analysis I'm doing, again, this is for the years to come. Not really thinking about that for now. It's just something to bear in mind, that price or these lows are actually reacting from a good level, and price eventually could actually take these highs, since basically this could be a natural move to look for. This high is not reacting from anything relevant on the left side. Yeah, could go higher in here. This is something to bear in mind in here. 109. Second. Yeah, sorry, let's go back on both trade effects. So we are looking at 109.54. Yeah, that's somewhere in there, right? Yeah, it's kind of have a zone in there as well. Yeah, we're looking for something in here, right? Yeah, that can be, again, this one kind of is taken. Yeah, this could be faked out. It's kind of what I'm looking for as well. And that's on the wartime frame, there's something in there. Yeah, there's maybe something in here on the wartime frame. Otherwise, personally, I would even just start looking even higher than that. On the 4-hour time frame, I think I'll be looking even for price to go straight away into the next zone in there, into which we take everything in here. Okay, so this for me is kind of a compressed zone. Second, where is this coming from? Yeah, I can do it. This doesn't really matter. Second. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but maybe there's something in there. We kind of have this double top in here. Price didn't really reacted from that level, maybe. Yeah, I can maybe see what you're saying. Yeah, there's maybe something in here, to be honest. Because none of these guys actually reacted from here. Which takes us into that zone. That if you actually follow price like this, we see that maybe actually this may be a bit compression, and this is actually where the supply is, and now actually price actually reacted from that zone already. So yeah, higher time frame looks like maybe something in here, but if you actually kind of follow price, this actually maybe the supply in there that actually price already reacted from. Yeah, unless there's maybe something else a bit higher. But yeah, sometimes it's good to follow price a bit like that. So yeah, otherwise we may just go completely to the next level. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. This one kind of already taken that one, so we may go. Yeah, we may go there. But I will follow after we take this high. I'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Yeah. And then you're looking at 112. Yeah, you're looking for price to test the highs. Yeah, which could happen as well. Yeah, could maybe eventually challenge these guys again. I think, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what may happen. But yeah, pound yen again. Yeah, kind of reacted from that level, kind of respected this zone in here. What has been compressed already on the way down. Even this zone. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. If you do break below, I think that's kind of starts opening the door a bit more to the downside. A little bit similar to the dollar yen if it breaks kind of these lows. Euro yen also, it kind of, in my opinion, kind of broke a little bit that level, but yeah, if you even break below that level, it confirms even more. So I'm looking to see what these guys are going to do in there. Also, what yen index can do when it retests kind of the walls in there as well. Now, these guys, CAD, dollar CAD, okay, so yep, it came all the way down. Kind of this is the range that we've been looking. That price has been holding price upwards, okay, and kind of we fake out that level. Yeah, that's perfect. So we took those highs, we fake out them, fake out that zone in here, and price kind of retesting a bit more into these highs in there. We did manage to break a little bit below that level. Okay, reacted from straight away from the next one. I think maybe price eventually can now go a little bit more towards towards in here, or can even eventually resume the move in here. That's just something to bear in mind. Kind of respected this level again, a little bit of a range, and in here, this was a kind of a nice reaction on that level. Yeah, price kind of touched the base of this level as well. Yeah, let's see. Price respected perfectly the lows in here as well, so that's kind of where we are at this point. And price kind of respecting slightly nicely those highs, kind of respecting the lows. So we will see which direction eventually price is going to go towards to, and respected this level again, and then eventually could maybe aim towards a bit more to the downside. Yeah, this one kind of can be seen as a move down, but we'll see. We'll see what the dollar CAD is going to do. Okay, a bit rangy. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, more intraday setups at this point personally on our CAD, unless we kind of challenge again this highs in here, and maybe if there's anything or good opportunity to look for a big swing position from there, maybe we can take it, even though I'm not the biggest fan of this high, to be honest. Yes, it reacted really nicely from that zone, and if by any chance we do break above this level, I can see eventually this dollar CAD to go all the way to the upside. So it's actually kind of important that this zone in here actually keeps holding price down, otherwise we may literally go all the way there. So yeah, just something to bear in mind on dollar CAD in here. Euro CAD also kind of been moving to the upside, again following what the Euro Index is doing. We did manage to take these lows, which is going to be an interesting zone. Okay, now after taking these lows and price starting moving upwards, the normal destination will be kind of to test this level in here. Okay, it wouldn't be just to pause. It wouldn't be just to pause at around here or wherever. It would actually kind of to resume the move upwards. This will kind of hold price, and price has been quite bullish without really breaking any lows. Price has been quite bullish. It even left this zone behind as well. So yeah, so super bullish at this point, Euro CAD. And the question mark is what's going to happen from here, right? Did it manage to already break this level? Yes or no? Yeah, it even already broke this highs, which can actually head open then into this compression, which then takes us into this next level somewhere in here. Yeah, now this for me could be seen as an engulf down. Okay, so it's going to be interesting actually how price may react from here, or if by any chance price does want to even go slightly more into here before making a move to the downside. It'll be interesting to see also what may happen. But at this point, yes, it's still quite bullish. Price again just respected another demand zone in here, and just continues to move upwards, and respected again another level in here, and keeps going upwards. So everything like that is been going on, and eventually let's see if you do have any break to downside. Otherwise, yeah, don't really short it, don't really be in front of this move in here. Over time frame, is there anything in here that can stand out? Yeah, maybe retesting something in there can be interesting. Yeah, maybe that extreme in there can be quite a good level. Maybe in between these two zones as well, there's maybe something there to look for a reaction from. Yeah, otherwise we may eventually just go literally above the size, and you'll see what may happen next. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's one maybe fresh still. Yeah, so we eventually may have a great potential trade in here, but just stay patient, keep following what price may be doing in here. This one we definitely broke this low, so we'll see eventually when you're going to turn and eventually fill this price once again in there. Yeah, that level is quite nice, to be honest. In there. Yeah, we need to see some weakness on the euro for these guys also to eventually turn in here. Our franc Swiss just continues to move down. Okay, so it finally now reached this gap in here that we're looking for, but I think price now is ready to just continue to move lower. So yeah, we had that move. So basically we are kind of in a mix in here, right? What we have in here, right? So we reacted from that zone, meanwhile kind of moved a little bit higher. Didn't really get nowhere near close this zone in here. We just kind of reacted from this level in there, just kind of still fresh on the weekly time frame. Everything in here is going to be interesting to see what price may do, but yeah, we do have already kind of a break below that level, so we may continue to see these guys moving lower. Now, question mark: are you going to go all the way down? That's a good question mark. Or are you going to go even somewhere in here as well, just to try underneath this spike that we have in here? Something to look at as well. Yeah, this one can just continue to be a move to downside. Eventually you can fake out that. Again, can continue to move down, fake out the zone, and eventually do something like that. Again, challenge maybe this level again. Yeah, it's going to be something to look at in here. Yeah, personally, I think we are going to just continue now to move forward. That was a nice reaction from there. Nice reaction from there. Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see slightly more of a move to downside in here. Some reason. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, not sure what's going on in here. Let's bring the other one. Let's look at gold and oil in here. Okay, this is what we have on gold. And yeah, just resume the move to the upside. Okay. Since we kind of respected those lows in there, kind of continue to move upwards. It filled the space in here. And now kind of we moved down again, respected the next level in there, and since then we have been moving upwards. And the question mark is, are we going to be trading within this range, or are we going to challenge the highs and move slightly higher to try to challenge a little bit more into that level in there? Now we do have maybe something still in here at the highs that you maybe could look for, even though all this move during the NFP, it was been quite spiked in the moment when price kind of moved away from these levels. You can see all these candles in there, which makes them a little bit tricky to look for. But yeah, at this point, price is reacting from somewhere in there. This structure in here, so we'll see what may happen next. And we actually just managed to break these lows in here as well. Okay, so this one can be interesting to see what may happen next on gold. We may have again that structure, so something in here can still work if gold does want to use something in here and to push price down. So yeah, maybe we're going to be trading within this range for a bit longer. Yeah, this was a nice target between this price in here where price kind of reacted from. Yeah, that's kind of what we have in here. This upper edge in there, it's kind of what we're looking for. Yeah, that's a little bit of what we have. All right. You already have a little bit of manipulation there. Price can react from this level, maybe go higher, can retest that level. You can even challenge again, as I mentioned, a little bit even higher in here. Okay. And eventually we'll see if price and gold is ready to going higher and challenge the next highs or not. At this point, is reacting from the lower edge of this zone and eventually could go a little bit higher. This one in here already taken by that one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what gold's going to do. It's going to be interesting. More time frame, maybe we can have another reaction to the downside, and we'll be trading in between this level a little bit longer until kind of if we break above those highs, then we'll see. But personally, we don't really know if there's anything interesting around this level. Maybe we can start then going a little bit higher in there. Yes, that's basically a bit on gold and oil. Just leave it this. Yeah, so everything in here has been basically compressed, and we reacted actually from this really interesting gap in alignment with this with these highs. okay, into here. It was a really good good reaction where actually oil reacted from, and now it's kind of approaching one of the first targets, which is kind of the supply level, and eventually is going to be the retest of this previous structure in here as well. Okay, so that's going to be one of the zones to look at, and then if price does go higher in here, then you may continue to go slightly higher into that zone. Again, definitely there's maybe something easy to look for, and definitely we'll see how price may react from this level. The reversal in here was quite aggressive, not really give any opportunity to go long. The way price moved from here, I think maybe there's still a zone there that price can eventually go and retrace to. Yeah, so that's basically oil, which was about time to turn a little bit. Has been quite bearish since the beginning of October, which is created that high, which again reacted really nicely from that level that we're looking for, and now kind of reacting from the structure in here as well, which is yeah, it's great. It's a great level to expect some reaction from after price kind of moved away from that level. It's a little bit of a gap in here that price finally fill it, and if you do break below that level, then you're looking maybe for price to go all the way towards somewhere in here, because basically almost everything in here has been almost compressed. Okay, if you do break below that structure, then you can go all the way to the 68 again. So yeah, that's basically what we have in here on oil. So we'll see what's going to happen next. That was a nice target. Price since then has been moving down. Yeah, yep, we'll see. Curious to see how price may react from here, and if you retest a little bit these lows, if there's any opportunity to try to jump into a long again. And then looking at crypto, again, super bullish like the recently, but we did reacted or reached an important level on BTC. Let me just do it this one. Yeah, so we reached kind of that level that you're looking for. Okay, this 38 something that you're looking in here. After you did manage to break those highs, that's kind of where we're looking for, especially kind of since we never really managed to break these lows. We always have been kind of looking for price eventually to take these highs. If these lows had been broken, maybe different story. And what we are looking at is this compression. Okay, so price has been kind of moving to the upside, as you know, and it hasn't really broken any lows at this point. Okay, kind of broke a little bit below the structure, but this was actually the demand zone that was still fresh. So really good reaction straight away from there, and kind of created this double top at this point. Okay, personally, I'm looking for Bitcoin to go slightly higher. Okay, there's maybe something a little bit higher in there that you could look for. Yeah, maybe something in there, or even slightly higher somewhere in here as well. Personally, if we do eventually then manage to break above these highs, I think price is almost free to go all the way towards somewhere close to this 45, yeah, 45,000. Okay, so I think that eventually could be a reality if you do go above, these highs in here. I think then it can go higher again. There's maybe some reaction that you could have somewhere in here. Okay, so yeah, around this 42k, maybe some reaction to be expected, but eventually I think price can feel the spice and go towards to the next zone, into this 40, 45. Okay, so yeah, maybe could, for example, continue to go higher again. Price is kind of reacting a little bit from the zone below that. We may have something inside here, as I mentioned, and it's going to be interesting to see how price may react from there. But if we do break above that level, then eventually we could maybe again bounce from here, maybe go down a little bit, find something to then feel this price in here towards that zone in there. Okay, so it's just something to bear in mind. This is kind of what I can see in here on the left side, and then all of a sudden we are going to go all the way through. We go to the highs, but yeah, let's not get you don't need to really go all the way through at this point to see the highs. So this level has been already reacted from, so we start looking to the zone slightly above that. But yeah, now looking into the war time frame, and something that we need to pay attention to. Okay, so we haven't really had a deep retracement, maybe a little bit of a correction here, but not exactly deep retracement, which eventually price could go back to this 31,000 if it wants to retest previous support resistance, and could go higher after that. What we have at this point, we start slowing down. Okay, so price starts to slow down a little bit, and we start creating this range. Like we start having this double top in here, which eventually can be faked out, and price could go lower. Okay, so it could be faked out into that zone slightly higher that I just described, and after that price could move to downside. Personally, I would like to see price maybe first taking properly the lows, and then moving upwards. So then kind of that could take us into more of a deeper retracement in there. Otherwise, we may just take these lows, kind of go higher, and if you take it, maybe we can just go or kind of retest this level as a long in there. But at this point, again, we do have this zone, this double low and this double top. So we may start kind of ranging a little bit. We may take the highs and retrace all the way back inside in here, the same way that we may take the lows and maybe kind of retrace all the way back to challenge the highs again. So let's see if that's going to happen. If you do break these lows, eventually I want to see all this being taken. We have a little bit of this demand zone, but eventually I'd like to see price kind of challenging all the way to those lows. So there's maybe this zone in here to be filled. So yeah, that's basically what I'll be looking for at this point on BTC. You do have kind of these highs in here. Maybe it's already kind of taken by that level. But I'm not going to be looking for any shorts anymore underneath this double top. I'll be waiting for it to take the highs before anything else, which may be the same thing at the lows if I'm looking for any longs. Ethereum is kind of a bit more to the downside. Okay, so Ethereum came all the way, retested still this highs. We haven't really broken above it. Still respecting these highs. And we have now this demand zone in here, kind of retested already quite nicely in here. This could have been a good short. Again, another one at this level where price kind of reacted quite nicely as well. So we are at this level. We'll see if we do manage to break below that or not. Maybe a little bit more in there. Yeah, or if there's going to be any kind of continuation to the downside. And then Solana as well. Basically feel the range that we talked about. Like as soon as price broke that level, we're looking for Solana to go all the way to test this kind of around 60 mark, and then it will be a question mark if price eventually would continue to go higher. Yeah, because then there's the potential to even go maybe close to 80. At this point, we did have this structure, which maybe it was important. Okay, the structure I mentioned is this one in here, in particular. This demand zone in here, that price never really respected on the way down, so can be a good level to respect on the way up, and that's basically what Ethereum is doing. Not Ethereum, Solana, and kind of retesting a little bit towards to this level. Eventually can go a little bit higher in there. But yeah, at this point, basically that's kind of where Solana is reacting from, and what we have in here is also kind of similar. We did manage to break new lows already in here. Okay, so that's kind of something to pay attention to, even though kind of just retested straight away this next level of structure. But you did manage to break new lows, and you kind of managed to then fake out that level, and we start moving to downside. Okay, so again, somewhere in here can be an interesting zone to look for a short in this case, but we do have definitely still this zone in here that price is holding and respecting at this point. Okay, so again, both extremes as at the moment within this range, they are quite good. The supply zone, the same way that this demand zone. So we'll see which direction price actually is going to break first. Okay, now bear in mind that we already broke this low, so price actually can eventually go slightly lower and maybe challenge a little bit more these lows, which a lot of it has been compressed at this moment. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind in here on Solana. Yeah, again, really strong and good move to the upside. Yeah, then you may go a little bit more closer to this structure in there. So we'll see if there's anything in here to look for. Yeah, could take the lows. Yeah, and any retest somewhere in there can originate a really interesting sell with good PI. Again, price could easily fake out these highs into something in here and then continue to move forward. And that's it, guys. And that's it. Oof, been 2 hours already. Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time, by the way, to be here. Yeah, next week's going to be an interesting week to see what the indices are going to do. If you are going to start showing some kind of reversals on the indices, again, looking for NASDAQ to S&P to go slightly higher. NASDAQ took the highs as well. We'll see what may happen after that. Dow as well is kind of approaching an interesting zone. Get on to see how price may react around this 35,300. Yeah, DAX a little bit the same thing. I want to see how price may react after taking these highs and if it start moving to downside, or if price is going to continue to go higher closer to this level before any kind of sell opportunity. Something else, we have the 10-year yield, which now is closing this gap. So we've been looking for price to close this gap in here at around 4.3%, then could go maybe higher towards this 4.8 again, and maybe continue to move forward after that. So it's an interesting previous level of support resistance. So we'll see how this level is going to react from here. Our price, or these guys are going to just continue to move slightly lower. Kind of broke this trend line, already retested it in here, but yeah, we'll see how price may react from this level first and foremost, which then maybe be in alignment with the dollar moving upwards, and indices maybe moving down. Also VIX is going to be interesting. We're to see how VIX may react around this level in here. Okay, that was a really good level before COVID, which we react from that month zone. Below that low, we have moved to the upside. We took these highs as well. So yeah, if by any chance we start seeing a turn in here, yeah, that most likely is going to mean the indices are moving to the downside. So yeah, it's a really interesting zone. It's slowing down. Again, still managed to respect these highs, but it's starting to slow down. And eventually, if we do turn to the upside, then at least from here to there, I think there's a high probability. Okay, basically all the way from 15 to 18 something. And we'll see if then actually challenge and break to the upside. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. The end pairs as well. It's going to be interesting to continue to follow. So yeah, and Euro index as well. If you're going to continue to go upwards and eventually challenge or have some kind of retracement or reaction from this structure. Okay, so maybe going a little bit more to the upside, take this highs, and something in there could see some kind of retracement on this Euro index. Yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be an interesting week. Again, not many news. Thanksgiving on Thursday, so yeah, for anyone from the US, if you're watching it, happy Thanksgiving beforehand. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Guys. Thank you very much. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you. All the best. Bye bye. Adios.